Good evening, Mark Sudduth, HurricaneTrack.com here with your Hurricane Pro and HD look at Hurricane Matthew this evening. Where's the center of it? Well, this is the infrared, so it's a little bit harder to pick it out, but you can venture to guess it's somewhere in here, approaching the extreme southeast tip of Cuba after passing over western Haiti early this morning with a landfall. As a Category 4, kind of rare to have that happen there, and this will go down in history as one of the strongest in the last 50-something years to hit this region, I do believe. After Cuba, this will be heading into the central Bahamas. It should start turning more towards the northwest. So upstream from there, going to be really under the gun over the next couple of days. I'll tell you, this has the potential to strengthen quite a bit. The upper level winds are very favorable. The only impediment right now is this speed bump, if you will. And once Matthew moves away, especially clearing out up into this region, away from the landmass of Cuba and Haiti, and overall the Hispaniola, where there's a lot of mountains, and it's kind of disrupting this inflow over here, this should strengthen rather dramatically over the very warm waters of the southwest Atlantic Ocean. The latest hurricane track map for this system from the National Hurricane Center indicating several things here. Lots of warnings in the red for the Bahama Islands, as you can imagine, and then hurricane watch here along the Florida East Coast, tropical storm watch for Lake Okeechobee, tropical storm watch for portions of the Keys, and some of these will eventually be upgraded to warnings as necessary. Now, this is the 5 o'clock advisory, and some interesting things happened today with some of the global models. The European, the ECMWF, kind of comes real close to Florida, with a landfall near the Space Coast area up here, and then kind of turns and then loops back around like this. A clockwise loop is what the European showed from today, the ECMWF model. A lot of the other modeling is suggesting this very close approach to Florida, and then kind of coming up and maybe heading on out to sea like this. So the Hurricane Center's forecast is not going to just come around and sort of what we call windshield wiper effect on a dime. It's going to gradually change and reflect any changes in the overall modeling, and we're going to see that reflected. So, you know, even though the center position here on Saturday afternoon is very close to Wilmington, odds are that this is going to change quite a bit. And it's my impression that this is probably going to end up moving much more offshore, but we'll see about that. It's not up to me, but it's just an observation from some of the modeling that I've seen. And then I can pass that along to you as to what to look for. And so I think what to look for will be a closer approach to Florida and a further away from the coast track up north here, and probably no impact up here whatsoever. But, you know, I could be wrong. This is just one source. It's just what I'm seeing in some of the guidance. So let's see when and if the National Hurricane Center sort of adopts that as well. They'll be watching things very closely, much more closely than I can. They have a big old staff down there, so it's a lot easier. So again, the 5 p.m. information, 140 mile an hour winds, the pressure just under 950, and this will fluctuate and then eventually start going up again as it gets into the Bahamas. So one of the things I wanted to show you here in the public advisory, this hazards affecting land, obviously the wind, hurricane conditions, Cuba, Bahamas, etc., tropical storm conditions continuing near Haiti. A lot of information in this area. Rainfall, excessive rainfall in some areas, 40 inches in parts of Haiti. And then just all kinds of information for the various islands, 5 inches, 2 inches, 3 inches. Basically, you know there's a lot of rain coming with this system. And then there's the storm surge, and this is also extremely important. So the southern coast of Cuba, 7 to 11 feet. And then once you get into the Bahamas, 10 to 15 feet of surge. And that is very, very, I mean, folks, come on. That's going to be taller than all automobiles and to the first floor of many structures. So that's a real problem. And then eventually North Palm Beach to the Volusia, Brevard County line, 3 to 5 feet in this area above ground if it occurs at the time of high tide. So this is really getting serious, and people need to take it seriously. Read the information in this public advisory. I'm not going to just sit here and read the whole thing to you. You should read it yourself, try to understand it. There is a lot packed into this, and this comes out on a main package from the Hurricane Center every 6 hours, but every about 3 hours when we have warnings and watches up like we do now. So be sure to check that. You scroll down, and really I think the best part of this, helping you to understand what impacts to expect hazards affecting land. So there you go. All right, a lot going on with this system, of course. Now, my plan, based on some of the latest modeling, is to head to Florida tomorrow. And I will be reporting back to, of course, HurricaneTrack.com interests, posting video blogs, etc. there along the way. And I'll be able to do the same for Hurricane Pro and HD in the field. Anytime I'm in the hotel, etc., I'll be able to do a professionally sort of screencast like this, much better quality than out on the road, where as I did in Hermine, kind of hold up the iPad and do what I can and update you from where I can. But the point is, these will continue as I travel to Florida. Why am I going to Florida? Well, I think that's where it's going to approach the closest at the strongest. And so I want to be there for that, to set up equipment to measure the wind and live cameras. Remember, during Hermine, for those of you that followed, live cameras in Cedar Key and over in St. Mark's, very successful with that. And any impacts along the Florida East Coast, I want to be able to use this technology to cover that. And Hurricane Pro and HD, of course, will be tweeting that information as well. All right, so that's it for this evening. Again, I'm Mark Sudduth for HurricaneTrack.com and, of course, Hurricane Pro and HD. Try to relax if you can. I know it's easier said than done. Things will work out. Just follow the advice of local officials and be patient, all right? This is going to be a long process. We've been watching this for a week or more, and it's really just getting started now in terms of the impacts to the southeast coast. Have yourselves a great rest of your evening. I'll have another video blog for you here tomorrow morning.